we would like to caution you about viewing this piece. It is not a pretty sight at all, so please, those of you, be forewarned.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event. Introducing the challenger from parts unknown.
Don't let me go white ghetto on your fucking ass. You make a fool of me, I will get you. It will be a blood match with chairs.
From the John Lovitz Comedy Club at Universal Studios City Walk in Hollywood, it's almost live from Parts Unknown.
Once again.
Once again. This is the debut show, Joey. There's no once again. This is our first show. We're kicking it off. I'm your host, Broadway Danny Wolf, joined each and every week by our other host, Ken Knapsack.
Thanks for having me, Danny. I'm excited to be here.
You're here every week.
Very excited.
Joey Gaynor.
I'm here every week, and I've been here every week even before the show started.
Good to know. And Dan Farren.
I'll try to be here every week, but I'm checking my pulse right now. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make it through the next hour or so.
Well, this is the weekly podcast for anybody who wants to hear wrestling, see wrestling, know all about wrestling, all things wrestling.
Oh, did I hear the door?
I just heard the doorbell. Who could that be? Could it be our first guest? This will be a trivia question in the future. Our first guest.
Wait. No. We're not doing any shows here, guys.
What are you talking about,
No,
boss man?
I don't have anything signed, guys.
Nothing signed?
Nothing signed.
You were supposed to give him back the
Way to go, Joey.
Okay, that's all right. Let's sign up.
We have no show until we get a contract signed.
Okay,
Boss man's laying down the boss
Man is laying down the rules in our first show, but there is no show without the boss man or a signed deal.
Without a contract, there's no show.
Don't you have a pen?
Yeah, I got a pen.
Joe, would you like to use the pen? I carry this for contract signing
Well,
purposes.
go ahead. You guys sign first. I'll sign in a second here.
Okay. Turn around.
No, Marc will
you want me to sign on
Who's
the
got
back?
the knife so we can draw the blood?
Okay. All right. All right, buddy.
This is the way to
what we
sign a
do.
contract in the wrestling business. I'm just looking for my special.
Eh?
Let me join in there. Got to sign it on the boss man's back.
This is just like it's
is how they-
supposed to be in the world of pro wrestling.
Dan Farren.
I got. I'll show you.
I don't need that. Yeah,
Make it
I mean,
official.
it's all got to be by the same pen.
That's a
I mean,
little.
that's ink drawn in blood.
That's a little known fact in law, right?
Right.
Same pen.
Exactly.
Different pen. Didn't count.
Obviously, Joey spent an advance on this pen. Looks like. So.
Yeah, it's.
I think, Joey, the pen just ran out of ink.
Oh, sorry. There we go.
Let me sign this.
Oh,
Excuse
sorry,
me,
Joe.
sir.
Sorry,
Yes,
Joey,
sir.
ran out of ink.
It ran out of ink, Joey.
Didn't run out of ink. Hold on. Where's my? Here we go.
That sounds
See, the
official.
bigger the autograph, the bigger the star. Here you go, my friend.
Listen,
Biggest signature
listen,
on here.
And I'm going to get you a new phone now that you've signed
No.
that contract.
That's a special phone.
We've
so that
got
nobody
it.
can
I
find
just
it.
want to show everyone.
Make it official, boss
It's
man.
official. We haven't signed.
We're signed.
Oh, wait a minute.
We're here.
Wait a minute. I haven't signed.
Oh, well, you had to sign it.
I haven't signed it.
You
Where's the
threw the
pen?
pen on the ground, Joey.
No, I did not throw the pen on the
Use the
ground.
other pen. That'll work fine. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry
It's
about it.
I mean, it's
Here.
not written in blood.
Oh, there. The
There you
boss
go.
man knows how it works. You do it on the back.
That's right.
Dot the I real hard. Dot the I real hard.
You know what?
I'm going to dot somebody's eye real hard.
There we go.
All right.
Drawn
No problem.
blood.
Gentlemen,
Thank you.
may the show continue.
Thank you,
All right.
boss man.
Thank you, Marc.
Good to have you here.
Thank you guys,
Thank you,
man.
boss man.
Marc
Congrats on your
Short.
first show.
Marc Short, one of the producers and owners of the John Lovitz Comedy Network that we are proud to be on. So, in true wrestling tradition, we signed it on the promoter or producer's back.
That's how you do it.
So we've gotten that out of the way, and now we're for real.
Well, our first show, our debut, and you know what's great is we're going to have live guests here in the future, so you'll get to call in and ask questions.
Exactly.
We'll have wrestlers past and present, managers past and present, promoters past and present, calling in, Skyping in.
What about divas, past and present?
Chicks. We're going to have a lot of
Divas,
chicks.
I'll stick around.
Mud wrestlers, oil wrestlers,
We're gonna
foxy
have all kinds
boxers.
of, there'll be all kinds of. I've been scouring the gyms myself for
Yeah,
I'm concerned because Joey is breathing heavily already. He's already winded himself in the first 3 minutes of the show.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just getting my lungs in shape. That's all.
Okay, there we go.
Well, and eventually we're going to be doing this show live on the stage at the John Lovitz Comedy Club here at City Walk at Universal
Right.
Studios
The
in
podcast
Hollywood.
theater.
And you'll be able to come, all the viewers, people who enjoy the show, join us live. We'll be on the stage. We'll have great wrestlers here. You can get
We
photos.
don't want them on the stage, but they can join us in the audience.
Yes.
That's the important thing. 'Cause
So we'll fill you in on all that in upcoming weeks. But
why don't you
feel like really good looking, and you're like 22. You want to
Why
put
don't
on the stage.
walk it on? There we go. Okay, there we go.
Joey's
there
got
we go. There
And
we
wait,
go.
Joey,
So
who is this sitting to your left or camera
You're
right?
talking about my friend right behind me here. Which was it? Here he is. He's up here.
Yeah, who is
That
this?
is right
No,
here. That is
Father,
talking
spoiler
about Spoiler
58.
58?
Spoiler 58. The man is a personal friend. There are many spoilers. This is spoiler 58, and he will be here. As a matter of fact, he's going to bring his son, spoiler 57.
wait a minute.
That was
If
spoiler
spoiler-
59. His
59,
father is
what did it
57.
mean?
His grandfather's 56. And his great-grandfather is 55. It's a whole line of spoilers.
Well, you know what? There's a lot to talk about tonight. We do have someone
You know
calling
what,
in.
Danny? Though, why don't you, before we do anything, we have a phone number. Why don't you give the number out? Let's
Give out the phone number.
See who shows up.
We have a phone number. Yes. You can reach us here at Almost Live from Parts Unknown, 818-691-3959. Again,
That's
that's 818-691-3959.
691. What was the rest?
Tres, nueve, cinco,
Yeah.
nueve.
Oh, here it is.
Something like that.
Not
Yeah.
Richmond 951. 818-691. It's 818-691-3959. That is for all of our Spanish
Our Lucha fans.
Our Lucha fans.
Anyways, let's kick it off. And there they are. Downstairs, upstairs.
Wow.
A lot going on in the world of professional wrestling. Ken,
Yes,
you've
sir.
got the news. Let's talk about the news
It's
of the
Ken
week.
with the scoop.
That's right. You know, this is, of course, we are in WrestleMania season, gentlemen. We are on the road to WrestleMania.
The
so that
road
is
to
the news
WrestleMania.
dominating a lot
talking.
of the wrestling world. If you might have seen this past week on Monday Night Raw, Scott Hall is to be inducted. Razor Ramon is to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. What do you guys feel about this? Clearly going in under his most known gimmick, but not going in as Scott Hall. He certainly contributed as Scott Hall.
My theory is they'll do an NWO induction in a year or two, and he will go in then as Scott Hall. But the character Razor Ramon, do you think is deserving?
I absolutely think it is if you factor in some of the other people already in. Razor Ramon on his own didn't last, wasn't a tremendously long time there in the Big Fed, 93 to about 95 and maybe 92 to
somewhere around that
95. But he clearly made his mark, WrestleMania 10, the ladder match. So
Well, I think also what it also shows is the power that DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, has.
Yes.
Because you have two people going into the Hall of Fame this year, Jake Roberts and Scott Hall, who both were basically brought back from the brink of by DDP.
It's not out of the realm of reality to say DDP saved their lives, if that's where we're, when you really look at where they were. Danny, what do you feel
tissue,
about
Danny?
Razor?
Something.
Yeah.
Well, just
The host is in his own world.
I mean, look, when I saw they were talking about Carlos Colon to be
Yes.
in the Hall of Fame, I was like, wow, did they have a Jobbers Hall of Fame? Because he never did
Well,
anything but
that's
job.
interesting because that's also on my news of notes here is Carlos Colon inducted into the Hall of Fame this year was announced. But as it turns out today, the story's kind of coming out that the WWE is to be purchasing the World Wrestling Council's video library, which of course is his.
Well, that's part of the whole idea of the Hall of Fame is
Yeah.
it's more of a business tie-in than it is anything else.
Yeah.
So that makes perfect sense. I mean, no, he was a big. He was popular to some extent on the East Coast. In Puerto Rico, he was the king. And,
Is Hart doing the music bed?
in the background, exactly.
Yeah, we have music tonight in honor of Carlos Colon.
And they're being pretty open on the WWE website, talking about who he is, who his son was, who his other son is, and Epico Primo. They're outing them as the Los Matadors already, saying, hey, they're all related. So they're trying to build that history.
So should we expect El Torito to be doing the induction?
Is Johnny Rodz in the Hall of Fame?
Yes, he is.
He is, because he would belong there, because he used to beat up Carlos Colon when I was a kid. He used to beat the living piss out of him.
Absolutely. Some other news coming out this week is the AMC, that is the AMC movie channel, which has also produced a lot of original programming of note, Mad Men and the like. They have picked up the option on a reality TV show, what we think will be a reality TV show about Billy Corgan, former lead, lead frontman of Smashing Pumpkins, and his Resistance Pro company, the wrestling company he runs. We know Thunder Kitty, who's a regular contributor over there. What do you guys think?
I don't know. Is it a behind the scene? I mean, when you talk about doing reality on a wrestling, I mean, is it just showing the matches every week? Is it the behind the scenes?
Here's the pitch, the log line, and you know about log lines, Daddy. Smashing Pumpkins lead singer Billy Corgan pulls back the curtains on the pro wrestling world as he takes over creative direction for the independent wrestling company Resistance Pro.
And they're located, I think, in Chicago.
Chicago area.
Is there anything left to pull the curtains back on anymore at this point?
They're going to expose the explosion.
What's interesting, Dan, we worked with Millennium Pro Wrestling for about 4 or 5 years, the last 4 or 5 years, and also back in 2000, 2001, their first go-around. But we had a reality show pitch in the works, and one of the things we heard often, we had some interest to a point, but we always heard, there's a ton of these being pitched right now.
Yeah.
So this one got through obviously because of his name value.
Well,
that is
it has everything to do
it.
with his name value more so than to most media right now. Wrestling is as cold as ice, and they figure that everybody knows that what goes on behind the scenes. So unless you have some sort of different take on it, I don't see how anybody's going to be surprised by anything.
And clearly the take is Rockstar owns wrestling company.
Yeah, exactly.
He's owned this for years. They're clearly selling it as takes over creative direction. He's been behind the curtains for years. But now we're going to pull the curtains back.
Well, I mean, one of the things they might do on there is show like juicing, how to show the kids how to juice properly.
but they did that. They did that 10, 12 years ago already. I mean,
but it's a new generation. They want to do it their way.
Ever since the secrets of pro wrestling were exposed on Fox, it's
NBC.
NBC. Oh, I apologize to Fox.
We should apologize to NBC.
Let me ask you gentlemen this question. Do you want to see at WrestleMania 31 a 56-year-old wrestler versus a broken down 48-year-old wrestler? Interest?
This can only mean one thing.
Yes,
Sting?
Sting. The man called Sting, long rumored to be joining the roster of the WWE, the last man in the known universe above a certain level to have not wrestled for Vince.
Yep.
Those rumors pop up every WrestleMania season, but now it's getting pretty close. You want to start believing these rumors, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And look, he's in New Orleans for the weekend of WrestleMania at another event. And there's speculation, now open and rampant speculation, that he will be there the next night for Raw and maybe set up a match with The Undertaker at WrestleMania 31.
Well, it's always been very popular ever since Rock did it with John Cena a couple years ago to set up something in advance and take a year to build to it. In both situations, The Undertaker and to some extent Sting would need about a year to get into shape to be able to put on a match that they would want to do. I mean, how long The Undertaker can keep doing this, because it's been the last 10, 12 years they've talked about him wanting to hang it up, and there's been stories, these horror stories of him spending the entire week before WrestleMania icing his knees just so he can get through another match. But again, I got to figure after a match with Brock Lesnar or the matches that he did with Shawn Michaels, no offense to Sting, it's not going to be quite the same kind of spectacle, I don't
Sting's
think.
work in TNA over the last 2 years, at times it was solid. It's definitely, the man still knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and if he's in with a good opponent, he always is strong. But
when you're at the I have to wear a T-shirt phase of your career,
yes, exactly.
I sometimes think maybe it's time to maybe wrap it up. But I'll tell you what, I'll be interested to at least see it. And it's curious, like Danny, you and I were talking off air, he is the last of the big names Never crossed.
Yeah, who else is there? I mean, for all the many years it was would Ric Flair ever wrestle Hulk Hogan?
Yeah.
Went on for a decade.
Well, Sting is the last son of WCW. I mean, he's the last scion from that
Wait, you're
group.
forgetting about Eric Watts.
No, Eric Watts wrestled as Techno Team 2000.
You can't get one over on Ken there, Joe.
Exactly. See,
Well, how many matches a year is Undertaker wrestling now?
One. That's
Now,
about it.
last
Yeah.
when was it either Nexus or Shield first broke? There was talk of him and Kane teaming
Yeah.
it, and then they had some involvement, and then it dissipated.
But that happens a lot all the time. As they say,
can't do
plans
it.
change.
He
Plans
can't do
change.
it.
You can't.
I mean,
No.
there hasn't been a great character since Blood Runs Cold. That was what. Look, a lot of these guys are just the poor man's Juventud Guerrero. We know that going in. No, Sting, how old is Sting? 56?
He's in his mid-50s. I'm saying 56. It's a guess, but I think it's
Okay.
between 53 and 57.
Okay.
56.
The Undertaker's 48?
He's approaching 50, probably with the body of a 70-year-old.
Yeah, exactly.
But is he-
And I don't even mean that as a joke.
He's not as active all year as he is.
He does this the one
the
time.
one time a year, so he really must be, messed up physically. Just to get to this must be like an ordeal.
That's what those stories, Dan. We've all heard them.
Wow.
Yeah, that this is he comes on out and does this once a year and has to take the entire time to recuperate.
Yeah. Are you on a 5-second delay? Because I said that like 2 minutes ago. I don't.
Yeah, I know what you said. It's just that
Maybe you need the fez
I
on.
was.
Where's your fez?
where's
Put the
your
fez
fez?
on.
I was
Put the fez.
absorbing what you said and trying to make it be better.
Where's the rest of your uniform,
fez
Gainer?
No, I'm listening to the wonderful Mexican rock and roll coming from downstairs in the bar. We have a bar down there.
Here's another interesting story,
Go
guys.
ahead, I got a bus pass.
Two professors or associate professors at University of Windsor, they conducted a study and they have determined that the WWE does not portray women right. The study was conducted in order to examine Linda McMahon's claims that the WWE has, quote, cleaned up its product to be more family-oriented. The study concluded, at least as women go, the company has not improved matters as much as McMahon claims. One of the professors claims she is an admitted wrestling fan, which is brave for her to do in her line of work.
Exactly.
And she says, to be fair, the male characters are not portrayed particularly well.
Well, yeah, nobody
either.
is at all. Really,
So
that's what
I
it comes
put
down
out to you guys. Is this really?
I
news?
don't think he portrays his own family particularly well on
No.
the show. So I mean,
But what does it mean? It's so vague. Doesn't portray women right.
Well, first of all, they all have names of strippers. That's what it sounds like. Every diva sounds like a stripper's name.
Apparently, they could not get a grant for studying how long a mouse's tail will grow if you give it marijuana every 3 days. So they picked up this one because they could get a grant for this.
Do you realize,
this is
though-
the dumbest study I've ever heard.
Do you know, if we should have pitched that. Do you know how much money they probably got for doing that? That's something we could have told.
For doing
you.
the study?
This is
Yeah.
a Kickstarter.
Exactly.
They've noted in their study that the WWE continues to portray women in relationships as inferior to men or as psychos, gold diggers, cougars, or vengeful, scorned crazies.
And
That's just good booking.
Yeah, and the problem is,
the problem is,
I think the women's wrestling, the WWE, it's
Well,
never been stronger.
I think the
it's
Divas
never
it's
been more
actually a lot of
popular
it's better than some of the guys.
than it's ever been.
Well, it's a shame in a way because also, they always refer to the NXT girls as the divas in training, but they all seem to be better wrestlers than the actual divas are.
Absolutely. When Paige gets to the big show, I'm telling you, that's going to be, she's great. Great in the ring. You're watching her work with Emma down at NXT. It's been fun to watch her growth, and she's still only 21. So I think with Sarah Del Rey training the women down there at NXT, I really, really think you could see it grow if they allow it to grow.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
that's the big
Sarah
question.
Del Rey is one of the best in the.
Absolutely.
I mean,
She's smart for taking that trainer position, and then
Yeah,
she's not
exactly.
killing
on.
herself.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Every night
But
now
I'd
for
still love to
$50
see
or
her.
whatever,
Love to see her work a match down there. And Dan and I, you and I had the pleasure of watching Sarah Del Rey and Allison Danger work out.
Right.
In Newhall,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that was a great
It's a
match.
great match.
They both really know how to work. And Allison's since retired, I believe. But
Mm-hmm.
So I trust her
I
leadership down
saw
there.
Sarah Del Rey in Newhall. I forget the promotion, but she was wrestling 2 times that I was.
It scares me that I was
she
in the same
wrestling
building
guys.
with you.
Yeah, well, it scares me that no, but she was wrestling. She was in the prelim. She would wrestle guys, and
It's very good.
and it was really well done. It wasn't, I mean,
Well,
it was.
I think according to Cesaro, doesn't she kicks like a mule? I think she wrote
Yes,
somebody said she's really, but that makes sense because if you look at the fact that she was trained and mentored by Daniel Bryan, she's going to work that way.
Yeah. And did a lot of great work in Ring of Honor. But so it's interesting, maybe counteracting, maybe down the line we'll see some of that stuff change. But like I said, it's pro wrestling. I can't imagine
I would
exactly.
love to see Sarah Del Rey wrestle Sting. To me, this would be the epitome of a WrestleMania 37, 38. Let's really get him up in age and then get him in there with her and really see what he's got. Come on, Steve Borden, take off the paint. I don't even know the guy.
Final news of note, and we could move on, is here's a question. Will Vince McMahon ever sell the WWE?
We're on the clock here.
Gentlemen, what do you think?
My guess would be no, but I mean, are you talking about an offer that's too good to be refused?
Well, a recent story in Forbes, which was focusing on McMahon and the WWE network and the risk he was taking with that, and they directly addressed the rumors with Vince, and when asked about a successor coming from within his family, he said, "I would like to see a degree of that. I just think as time goes on, things will evaporate. Eventually, Uncle Sam sees the benefit. You can't do anything without Uncle Sam taking a huge bite out of it." But it addressed directly that Comcast and the Madison Square Garden Company are interested and have maybe even reached out to buy in the Fed.
Really?
Madison Square Garden would make sense because that's where it was nurtured. That's where
Absolutely.
it was from the beginning, and that might make a lot of sense. Comcast, we're in their building.
I mean, Comcast owns NBC, so
Yeah,
if
it's
you're
kinda
talking,
scary.
it's always
I
had a
would think-
relationship with McMahon back to the
And
Saturday
I
Night
would
Main
think
Event.
the idea would be there is what they're probably talking about is somebody financially taking the reins and cutting some sort of deal where the McMahon family was involved forever in one way, shape, or form.
Creatively.
Creatively.
You could keep them on a contract.
Yeah,
maybe
keep them on a
Steph and
contract that
Paul.
way. Yeah.
I would see Shane running it because
He's left though. He left Daddy's protective shell there on purpose to go. So he's out of the company.
Okay.
To me, it'll come down to stock.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good
It's easy
point.
to be bought out and given heaps of money, and then say, and we're still going to give you, 600,000 shares.
Yeah. And if you have a contract like that too, like we were saying, a creative contract, at some point, Hunter and Stephanie are going to get too old. I mean, and what if their kids don't want to pass it down to? This way, you're set and you're never in any kind of financial danger, and yet you still keep creative control over the whole thing.
Right. Well, it's interesting to think. Could you imagine a McMahon-less WWE? It seems almost
People have
impossible
been
to
praying
think.
for it, but
And if someone like Comcast takes over and has any kind of control, like you said, it's tied to bigger, TV networks. What happens to even some of the more risky stuff going on now in this much dreaded PG era? Does it change, or does it get better?
I could see Kevin Spacey stepping in to head up the WWE. I think he would.
That's a no.
That is the wrong answer. Yes,
That is the wrong answer. It will not be Kevin
That's how I
Spacey.
see it. Yeah.
So that's kind of the big news and notes. Of course, like I said, kind of a quiet week for a pre-WrestleMania week, but next week's going to be big, leading up to the big show.
Exactly.
WrestleMania WWE Access out there in New Orleans. Joey, are you going?
No, I will not be going to WrestleMania this year.
Your van doesn't make it that far then?
No, the van is there's some problems with it. Well, I don't have the van right now. I got stopped, and there's something about the girl's father had money. I don't know. We won't go into that right now.
Actually, the problem was that he thought that Shane McMahon had his ticket, and now he found out that Shane McMahon's not there anymore. Now it's
Shane and I, we used to hang out. Never.
Well, let's talk about WrestleMania. We're only a week and a half away. WrestleMania 30 at the Superdome. And a lot to talk about. That really, when you're saying there's not that much news
watching it at?
for the next week and a half, the only news there'll be in the squared circle is going to be WrestleMania. And I say let's talk about some of the matches.
Absolutely.
And talk, kind of,
sure.
Our predictions, our thoughts. If we think it's a set match, if we think it's good or bad. I mean, I think we can start.
Well, let me ask you guys a question.
Yep.
What is the main event at WrestleMania this year? What match do you consider? Now, I know what match traditionally they've wanted to be, but what do you guys think is the main event?
What am I tuning in for?
Yeah.
For me, it's still got to be Undertaker versus Lesnar, because part of the reason is they haven't set up anything else that I'm overly interested in seeing. I want to see Daniel Bryan versus Triple H. I want to see Daniel Bryan maybe in the three-way main event for the WWE World Championship or whatever they call it now, the two straps over their shoulders there. But I still think I'm curious to see what those two can put on.
That's what I think also. I think what's happened is the streak, which, I'd be interested in how far back they started first talking about the streak, because it was one of those things that just kind of happened. And I feel that what's happened is the streak overshadows almost everything now at WrestleMania. Yeah. And
21-0.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to as long as Undertaker's wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's hard. Last year, Undertaker, CM Punk, it was kind of weird. It came about quick and kind of sudden. Yeah. And it definitely didn't capture the big game feel like you're coming off of Triple H for 2 years, Shawn Michaels for 2 years.
Yeah, that's hard.
It's hard to top those Michaels matches. And I certainly don't think Lesnar's going to top those in terms of his performance, but what he can bring, the intensity. I'm definitely curious to see what they're going to do.
And this will be one of those matches also where, even at a low burn, Lesnar is pretty tough.
I like Bresner too.
Bresner too.
Brock Bresner.
Brock Bresner. That's a mashup there for you. But I think that I think this might be also a year where the Undertaker takes a look at how he feels after a match with Brock Lesnar, and starts making decisions whether or not how much longer he really wants to do this. Because I know they're saying, Brock, you got to take it easy. You got, but it's one of those things. Sometimes guys with the intensity of Lesnar, they get in the moment, and things happen, and the last thing they want to see is to see the Undertaker get hurt.
Yeah.
First time they've wrestled in 10 years. Actually wrestled each other 10 years ago.
Exactly.
So. And the Fed loves to kind of gloss over that sometimes. When Triple H and Undertaker were meeting 2 years ago, or 2 Manias ago, it was like, the first time ever. They skipped over the fact that they had
wrestled before. Exactly.
But let me ask you guys another question then. Do you see the streak ever ending? Do you want to see the streak end? Do you want to see it?
I'd like to see it go. Honestly, if he could do 4 more years, a 25-year streak would be amazing. Mm-hmm. If he's got that in his body to do that, that would be fantastic. They could probably fake one out.
So you think he can get past Sting?
Huh?
So you're saying you think he'll get past Sting next year?
Yeah, I think that
it's Sarah Del Rey. It's going to be the problem.
That's
Sarah Del Rey.
32.
Exactly. That's WrestleMania 32.
Well, I would like to, like Joey, would like to see the streak go on forever and never end. Maybe 4 years, 25-0. I'm going to do some fantasy booking. I'd like to maybe him work on his body by starting to do DDP yoga, and then have DDP turn on him during the yoga sessions, and maybe me. Right?
That's my kind. That's my kind of wrestling. You got the guy, we're working out, he's bench pressing, and right as he gets it up like the 3rd time, his trainer just drops him in the throat. On his
and then chest. DDP can sell those yoga videos for $19.95.
So we basically turn the downward dog into a submission hold. Is what we do.
The Diamond Cutter would be interesting. The Diamond Cutter against what's the Undertaker? The Tombstone Pile Driver.
Right. What do you feel, Danny, about the streak?
I'd like to see it go on. Yeah. I don't think he's going to lose to Brock Lesnar, but I would surf if. Health-wise, if he's only really wrestling a time or 2 a year, I could see them pushing this to 25. Well, 25 is a monument. That's
the Undertaker on WrestleMania. I go back a few years, and I think when Leslie Nielsen and George Kennedy were hosting, and they came out looking for the Undertaker. And you go back to that, and you go, man, the stuff was so much fun, and it is really more fun when he's on WrestleMania, because a lot of the matches are just a lot of high spots, jumping around. The personalities are all the same guy now. For me, it's not the same like when the manager came out and talked, and the wrestlers were more. What's the right word? You were intrigued by their personality.
Oh no, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
But it's interesting because Ken, who knows a lot about wrestling, and Dan, when we said what match you most interested in, with all the great talent that's on the show, when you have Cena and you have Ambrose and Seth Rollins and all these great wrestlers, you said The Undertaker and Lesnar, and I think a lot of people would say there's a lot of great talent on the show.
Well, I think there's a lot of different thought there, where The Undertaker, being an old school kind of guy, even if everybody said to him, no, we want you to continue with this streak, he may at one point say, no, I want to lose. I feel, as they always say, your last match, you should go out on your back. And then, he may want to do that. I think it'd be better. I would love to see it where he wins that last match and he doesn't end the streak, but he just gets up and does a slow walk out and just disappears, and you don't see him.
I think, it would be great if he walked out and up on the big screen you see him walking, and then suddenly he's into the graveyard thing, and he's
and
gone.
He just disappears.
And
That's
there's
great.
no more.
Probably what
That'd
will
be
happen.
wonderful.
Right.
Yeah.
See, my thought is if you're going to end the streak, you're gonna want to put someone over and establish them, obviously.
Yeah, and that's the traditional thought.
Well, say it's right now, say it's this year, maybe it's next year. The WWE might think Roman Reigns, so they want to turn into the next Rock or something like that. All right, that makes sense. But how many times over the last 21 years have they thought they had someone who let's put over Nathan Jones or let's put on one of these guys? Heidenreich.
I remember what was the guy's name? The guy that was the former cop from Vegas who was the manager of Bart and Billy for a while or whatever.
Sonny? No.
The guy. But you remember? I can't think of his name, but see, that's how memorable the character was. But you remember they had Ric Flair lose to him clean on
about
TV.
Test or no? I'm trying to remember who.
The guy was a cop in Vegas.
You're testing my memory, but
Yeah, exactly. I can't think. I'm sure right now.
Well, fans, if you know who that was, just dial 818-691-3959, and we want to know who that cop in Vegas. If you are that cop in Vegas,
or if you'd like to request a song.
He just pulled up.
There he is, exactly.
There's your right.
Yeah,
man.
but the point being, at many times in wrestling history, people have been anointed as the next one.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to waste the streak on someone that in 2 years
probably not.
leaves?
What a scenario that would work for them is if he had a protege that one particular year who saves his ass in this big WrestleMania match, and he wins. And he walks off, and the protege takes.
You want him to lose the streak to Larry Zbyszko.
Oh, Larry Zbyszko, Jesus.
But
the living legend.
There's other things on that card,
Man
too.
makes great kielbasa.
Well, let's talk about Orton and Batista.
Oh, but before we do, everybody here feels that Undertaker is going to win that match.
Absolutely.
I hope so,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I think Lesnar's back. Lesnar's back to put people over for a big paycheck, and he's happy
exactly.
doing it, so.
What I was getting at was I didn't mean there was no talent there, but it's like a lot of the matches I watch WWE are very repetitious in finish,
They are.
in what's going on, and it's like, where's the guy with... You guys know what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, is I think you're right, Joe, when you talk about that, because I know that looking at the roster right now, there are a lot of people who are really, really good, but I don't know if I would want to take a chance of having one of them end the streak and then something happens, something goes wrong. I mean, that's just there's nobody there I would feel confident enough completely to do that with.
This is not a 10-year streak. This is now 21.
Yeah.
Not 21 years, but 21 WrestleMania.
This is Joe DiMaggio's batting
exactly.
title. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Orton and Batista.
Yeah.
Obviously, they were former members together of Evolution.
Yep.
And Batista, what, a 6-time world champion?
Sounds like that. Everyone's had about 12.
So Cena's had, I think, 14, I think is the number.
He's going to pass Flair soon.
It depends on when he's making a movie.
But Batista, interesting how they got into this match. Batista won the Royal Rumble.
Right.
Right, so he got into the match.
Dismay of the fans, but yes.
That's the thing. Who do the fans root for?
Well, I
Neither
really,
are like that much.
I really, really think they'll deny it to the end of the day because that's what you do in wrestling. But I really think the WWE brass thought they had something great in Batista coming back, that the fans were going to love him, and it was going to set up Orton Batista. And then Big Dave, God bless him, it just has not worked out for them.
A little fact.
Batista.
In
There we
New
go.
Orleans in 2009, Batista won the belt the first time from Orton.
Right.
Yeah.
So the first time he ever won the heavyweight championship was from Orton in New Orleans.
Yeah.
I think the
5
more
years ago.
interesting matchup would be Batista against that. I think it was a Canadian disc jockey that that got into. Did you see that story?
No.
No.
The guy shows up at it wasn't Canada, wasn't it, Ken? I think it was, where the guy showed up and started doing that thing that disc jockeys always do, and that is trying to argue with the wrestler at ringside. And then when Dave turned his back, the disc jockey pushed him.
That's smart.
Yeah, it's always the right thing to do. And eventually what happened was one thing led to another. Batista, who is not known to have a lot of patience with fans, flipped him off, and the guy went nuts. And the guy wound up losing his job over this.
I think he said losing his jaw.
Yeah,
No, his job.
Could have.
It
wasn't a work. But I think the fans, it's amazing the veracity in which they've really rejected Batista.
Yeah.
When Emma in NXT, who's all of 110 pounds, powerbombed someone on the NXT Arrival live show on the network, the crowd started cheering better than Batista.
Yeah.
Ooh.
They've really rejected him. So now that's why that main event, Orton Batista, has turned into a three-way, which will either be Daniel Bryan or Triple H, which we'll see.
Well, it looks like for Batista, all that's going to be left is the UFC.
Not at his AGE, I don't think.
Well, what are your feelings about the Triple H Daniel Bryan match?
I think it was great. I think it's.
I think it'll be great.
It's hopefully the culmination of a long story with Daniel Bryan that's been organic, and maybe there's who knows what's real and not real, and what the Fed really thinks of him and not. I think they see money in him to a point, and it helps to make people believe that they don't see money in him because it creates the yes movement.
And is it the whole plight of this movement he started?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's also a chance to give him a WrestleMania moment, and they're always looking to me. Outside of The Undertaker continuing his streak or whatever, the best moment that could possibly be would be after everything he's gone through for him to win the title and overcome all this adversity.
Yeah. This goes back to WrestleMania 28 or even before that, but Daniel Bryan's always been a fan favorite. Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon, coming up from the Indies, and the little guy, all 5'8", doing it. WrestleMania 28, he went in with the world heavyweight champion, lost it in 18 seconds to Sheamus, and there was an outcry. And the next night, the yes movement really started at Mania, and definitely the next night, completely organically, whether anyone wants to make you believe otherwise. That was... fans unhappy, and it's grown. Do I think they planned out a 2-year plan? No. But I think, like you said, and a lot of other my wrestling friends in and outside the business, WrestleMania 30's indoors this year at the Superdome, right? Right? No longer this year. It's not outdoors. If you're going to end WrestleMania 30 with Daniel Bryan holding up both belts and the crowd, 70,000 chanting, yes, 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 I think Vinnie Mac would want to end it on that.
And that's the opening of Raw the next night.
Right.
You come up on the footage of yes, yes, yes.
But who knows? Maybe Triple H goes, I want it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that simple. That'll be. Now let's talk about the battle. A couple battle royal named after Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
And of course, anybody who grew up in Los Angeles knowing the battle royals at the Olympic Auditorium, who was the king of them?
Andre the Giant.
Andre the Giant. He was brought in, every year just for the battle royal.
For the battle royal.
But it's
funny. This is no time to read.
No. I'm pulling up a picture from.
But you look at the talent in the battle in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and it's really I don't want to say the left. It's everyone who's not in a match.
Well, that's what it is.
Let's throw everybody in here. So the whole.
Hey, Borden, come on, Borden, don't look like that no more, do you?
For those listening on audio, Joey's now holding up a picture of Sting.
From what year is that wrestling
Missy
magazine?
Hyatt.
This is, I think.
It's got Michael Hayes versus Brian Pillman on the back, yeah. But yeah, so we talk about the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I think they did need to give everyone a moment.
Yeah,
30 stars.
This is actually the Battle Royal photos and stuff with.
Oh, there is Andre the Giant. Sure.
Andre the Giant and
Jim Neidhart and
Earthquake. A shot of Earthquake that I don't want to see. Actually, it's
this shot of Earthquake right here. He's kind of stretched it. Yeah, you get to see the Tembler.
Yeah.
But any predictions? I mean,
well, I have kind of an interesting prediction.
Theory.
My theory is I think that Hulk Hogan's going to win the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
Really?
But I think that they'll find some way. I can just see him sitting there. Dudes, I have to get involved in this thing somehow. And he'll wind up jumping in there. Everybody eats fist. And he winds up throwing everybody up, throwing everybody up. Yeah, throwing everybody out after he throws up, and then there we go. And I think in a way that every year that Hogan tells a story, Andre gets bigger and bigger. So why not give him? It's a chance to give him give him a little bit of a shine there at WrestleMania.
This whole thing about slamming Andre the Giant, the body slam thing.
So WrestleMania 3.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you go back to 1981, and I went to the Olympic Auditorium because they had a whole bunch of the guys coming in from Japan, and Bob Backlund wrestled the Hangman, and Andre the Giant at the Olympic Auditorium, and I saw this for $6, wrestled Hulk Hogan. Hogan was still Hulk Hogan, not too well-known heel.
AWA?
AWA kind of guy.
Yeah.
And Hogan body slammed Andre the Giant cleanly twice in the match. There's no footage, there's no camera, so this is it. And I think it's fitting if Hogan wins this. That would, and maybe he'll just be gone. That'll be it for Hogan. This would be a way for Hogan to go out.
Well, I'd be a way for him to go out. I don't think he plans on it. I don't think they want him to, especially with the network around. They're not going to want him to go away.
But it's just,
I mean, as a wrestler, yeah. I mean, he's not. I mean, there's been stories that and because it is wrestling, you have to wonder maybe he did he fail the physical or not, or is this something they're
He's
working?
He's not medically
or
cleared to make a sandwich.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. But he can throw a fist. He can't do the leg drop. He can't do any of that stuff. But he could punch a bunch of people, and they can take those gigantic vaults over the top rope or whatever they do, or something.
Yeah, and he can do this.
Yeah, and he could do the whole thing. I mean, that's another moment again to have Hulk Hogan win. Then he could body slam the trophy.
That's a bold prediction, Dan.
I know.
It's a big prediction.
I'm going to get behind it.
It sounds like something, that they would do. That I get behind that.
It's certainly an interesting wrinkle. 30 years, 30 wrestlers. Tribute to perhaps, I think we know Vince loves Andre. I mean, that's definitely been documented. I think you need to use that to either put someone tremendously over. Look, they won this, or have a great fan moment.
Exactly.
But I think
I don't know. Did anybody happen to see?
He'll be doing this the whole show.
Did anybody happen to see the footage that the WWF put up or WWE put up of Andre back in the mid '60s when he first started out? That footage has popped up online this week. It's fascinating. Very skinny, very thin, young Andre the Giant.
Doing drop kicks.
Doing drop kicks and coming off the top rope and all that kind of stuff. It's online. You can find it. It's fascinating to see.
It's funny you mentioned the whole Hogan in the 30 years. Remember, WrestleMania 1, it was the Hogan Mr. T, and who's getting inducted?
Yeah.
You have Mr. T.
Mr. T.
So if you kind of want to tie the whole thing together,
that's true.
It kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. You might be onto something, Dan.
If not, you're out of here.
Wait, WrestleMania 1 was
Mr. T and Hulk Hogan against Piper and Orndorff. That was the whole Cyndi Lauper at Madison Square Garden. I mean, that's what kicked the
You know what?
that
is not. And I went to see the whole thing live, and the ones that I remembered from that is not one that's emblazoned in my mind.
Really?
The stuff
What
that
did you remember?
The ones that really stuck out in my mind was the Blassie with the Sheik and Nikolai beating the Americans for the title, which it was. I was there, of course, watching the crowd cry. This was great. And some of the other stuff that they did, which to me was just great stuff. But the one thing I didn't get to see was Brutus Beefcake beat up San Martino Jr. there. That was
David San Martino.
David San Martino. He got a rough time that day.
What are you looking at the John Cena Bray Wyatt match? Have you been following the story on that, Danny?
On the Wyatts?
Yeah, the Wyatt family, which is quite over, is a new fun gimmick that's coming up from NXT.
It's the Hillbillies.
The Hillbillies, the cultish Hillbillies.
The Kiss. The guy has,
yes, the Sister Abigail. Yeah,
Sister Abigail.
Bray Wyatt, who is IRS's Mike Rotunda's son, one of his kids, is really it's his gimmick he's run with. He's done a great job with it, and they got him going against Cena. But the build-up has been a little different than the past. Cena looks confused, lacks some confidence. I think there's a possibility Invincible John might actually lose this one. Not a great chance, but...
Well, I mean, they've been building this match forever with the interference and all the pay-per-views. I think it was in the Royal Rumble.
Yep.
Was Cena cost Cena the title match?
Yep.
By Wyatt, interfering. So they've been building this for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know where Cena stands in the WWE now. I mean,
you're hearing that he's up there 35, 36 now.
It's just about the twilight.
Injuries he has a serious injury about every other year. There's talk of him looking at the part-time schedule some of the other guys have.
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, you do need to, let's say, for example, if we are doing the WrestleMania moment and we do have Bryan as the champion, the Wyatts would be the perfect feud, because we also had that little bit that began a while back, which is unfinished business, and you can go back and return to that.
Yeah.
And that would be a great first series of matches for him. And I also think that Cena's at the point now where I think he he's willing to put somebody over for the good of the company to try to build somebody up. Yeah. He's safe. He's not going to be, his legacy is there, is always going to be there. And, how sorry can you feel for a guy who's with one of the Bellas? So, I mean,
absolutely. When you're going home with Nikki
he's
Bella.
fine, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's, from a Booker standpoint, you're looking at maybe this is the one I can kind of give to a heel or give to something else, because I'm going to have my moments.
And someone they're building up so big anyways.
Yeah. And they always seem to do that every year at WrestleMania. Last year, Jericho trying to put over Fandango. That didn't work in the long term. But you had Rey Mysterio putting over Cody Rhodes a couple years ago. They definitely are conscious of the need to do that.
And you have to do that. And I think also if you look at the way the matches are going so far, the ones we've talked about, we're looking at face winners all the time.
Yeah.
So do we have
it's funny. We put out a call to get a guest. Dan, kind of explain
what happened was
our guest is.
What we did was we sent out and we were looking for online people who had WrestleMania memories and WrestleMania moments and whatever. And the most interesting one we got was from a gentleman named Barry Cohen. Who is where's that windy place out in California?
Porter Ranch.
Porter Ranch. That's every time there's a windstorm, there's always a reporter in the parking lot at Target at Porter Ranch. But his name is Barry Cohen. Can we bring Barry on the line there, Angelo?
So Barry, are you
there?
Yes, I am.
Hey,
Barry, welcome to Almost Live from Parts Unknown. You're the answer to a trivia question. Who's the first ever guest on Almost Live from Parts Unknown? The answer? Barry Cohen.
That's awesome.
Hey.
What do we have for him, Dan? Well,
absolutely nothing.
The rest of this water.
Barry, thanks for calling. How are the winds up in Porter Ranch? How's storm watch?
House is about to land on my sister. It's pretty bad.
Awesome. So, Barry, we're talking about WrestleMania 30 and sharing our thoughts on that, but also looking back over the 30 years. And you had some great WrestleMania memories. You attended at least one, right?
I attended actually 3 of them.
Get out of here.
Wow.
What a lucky life you've led, sir.
Yeah, I was very excited. Yeah. I attended one in, I think it was like 93 at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas.
I was at that one too. Yokozuna?
The WrestleMania 9 with, they had like a surprise main event at the end with like Hogan and
Yokozuna. I was at that too, my friend. That was a good one. That was a lot of fun.
And then WrestleMania 12 was awesome because I got, my parents actually gave me my ticket for my birthday, which was the prior September to that. And I went by myself because that was so exciting to do as an 18-year-old wrestling fan. And I ended up sitting front row for that, which was awesome at the Arrowhead Pond in Anaheim, now the Honda Center.
Sure.
What year was that?
96.
I was at that one. That's great.
That was the Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. I think it was the hour.
That was the hour match,
wasn't it?
Piper
1 hour. Piper and Goldust wrestled
on a truck and fought in the street.
In the streets and the freeways, yeah.
Yeah, with the supposed OJ chase with the Bronco.
That's right.
Yes.
The interlaced footage, that was very exciting. And then WrestleMania 21, I think it was 21 at the Staples Center. I was there for that too, with like Batista. I think it was like Batista and Triple H and John Cena and The Big Show. That one.
Awesome. Barry, I've always, maybe I can ask Joey too, but Barry, I've always wanted to know, as a fan, getting to attend the Showcase of the Immortals, WrestleMania, what's the excitement in the arena at the time there? Is it different from any other event? How do you feel?
It definitely is. It's definitely more of a buzz to it. The fans are definitely, I think, way more into it because I've attended house shows in the past. I've attended kind of like off pay-per-views, like when I lived in Vegas, they had Vengeance over at UNLV, I think once or twice, and I went to that. But the atmosphere at WrestleMania is a lot more electric. Everything from the stage crews dressed up, to a little more to everybody at ringside. You can kind of see it, like you see the announcers are wearing tuxes a lot of the time. It's just little things you kind of notice around the arena.
Did you wear a toga to WrestleMania 9?
No, I did get a free T-shirt at ringside, which is exciting. But
WrestleMania 9 is not one of the better WrestleManias, but me and my friends, we all had a toga party on that day in 1993. I remember watching when Giant Gonzalez came down to the ring. He had a little moment with a fan in the crowd there on the entranceway.
Giant Gonzalez, he was fantastic. I love that.
Did you get a good view of Giant Gonzalez, Barry?
Yeah, actually, I think you might be referring to me on that point. What happened was...
Is that you?
Yeah, I was at the ringside and where he was kind of coming down the aisle, and then a fan actually hit him, and then he turns around and stands over me, and he must have thought it was me or the guy next to me. But
I know exactly that moment. I just watched it again on the WWE Network the other day. That's you?
Yep.
Get out of here.
Yep.
How did it feel to be that close to a man dressed in a nude suit?
Well, I basically grew up back and forth in Vegas, so a 13-year-old kid seeing something like that in Vegas isn't, it happens from time to time.
And I was just talking with what Joey wore that day.
Can we get this? Wait.
That's
a picture,
actually
Dan.
a picture.
Get that up to the camera.
Okay, this is high
camera
tech
over there,
tonight.
Dan.
That camera
Put
there.
it right up to
The
the
one by you.
We can't see
But,
it.
we
are closer to the camera, Dan.
Barry right there.
Barry, we are
So
what?
there's Giant Gonzalez.
There's Barry.
Where's Barry? Put it closer to the camera, Dan.
Oh, wow, that's great, Barry. We're seeing
is that you?
a picture of Giant Gonzalez challenging you to a backlot brawl, it looks like, there at WrestleMania.
I've only been to 2 WrestleManias, but I have been to one ECW big pay-per-view. So
I wish I went to one of those.
The one at the Olympic Auditorium. That
Barry,
was a really good one.
Barry, when you look at the clip, and you can find, like Ken was saying, you can find the clip on the network.
Right.
It looks like he lunged at you and you got scared. Is that true?
Yeah, they build them at 7 feet, and what's funny is I saw, being at Caesar's Palace, that's where everyone's staying.
Yeah.
So, we were at a hotel as well. Like, I think we were staying at Excalibur next door. So, we would walk around, and then you'd see, Razor Ramon with Papa Shango and Giant Gonzalez at the bar.
Wow.
There you
walking
go.
around. So it's interesting, you see them in the gimmick and everything. So when I saw him stand over me, I was like, all right, well, yeah, I'm scared because he might do something to me because I don't know how much he actually had at the bar before the show.
So you may be the actual only person ever scared by Giant Gonzalez.
Possibly. And I was 13 years old. I wasn't drinking, and that anyone knew it.
But it's Vegas.
I want to ask you, Barry. I want to ask you a question now. Other than wrestling, have you been to other huge events like hockey playoffs, basketball, baseball, those kind of things?
Dodger games.
Playoff time though.
Okay. No, the only thing I can think of that could be in that realm. And not necessarily sports. I went to the Academy Awards actually one year, and that was kind of cool because there was a lot of there was definitely a lot of energy.
What were you nominated for?
Huh?
What were you nominated for?
Worst facial reaction at ringside.
Had a wrestling match.
Barry, are you married?
Yes.
How does WrestleMania compare to your wedding day?
Ooh. You could have, God, wow, that is a fantastic.
You still have time to change your name, Barry.
I do. Yeah, Van Nuys Courthouse is not too far off. I'm gonna plead my Fifth Amendment OJ privilege on that one.
Outstanding.
So when you were at the Academy Awards, did Louis Gossett lunge at you and you could jump back also there? Did that happen?
No, I did see.
I would if it was Tom Sizemore.
It was actually Helen Hunt.
It was interesting because I wasn't even supposed to be there in the first place, and then you have Will Smith getting into his car, and you're on the red carpet, you can actually go say hi to him, and I used someone else's tickets to get in, so I'm not even supposed to be there. So I'm hoping no one actually does talk to me.
So you just admitted right now that you used someone else's ticket to get in.
Barry, this is a joke of a podcast. We actually aren't doing a wrestling podcast. We're a detective team trying to get you to admit that you snuck into the Oscars.
Yes, it was in 1997. I think the statute of limitations on it might have passed.
Barry, with all since you've been in 3 WrestleManias, is there? Do you have a favorite match from all 3 of those?
I think the Backlot Brawl was, just live, I think the Backlot Brawl, the last part of it, was hilarious. Because you have Piper and Piper's reaction, and just Goldust was so good, and no one expected the lingerie to come out.
Right.
And, and that was kind of like that was before the Attitude Era, kind of like the tail end of the New Generation aspect of it.
Yeah.
Right.
So
And,
you're sitting there with the kids in the audience who are there to see Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart in a 1-hour marathon match, and then right before that they're watching an OJ chase and a guy get ripped apart in lingerie.
Well, that may have been like the longest match in history because they probably shot the first part of that match about 2-3 days earlier.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they put the whole thing together that way. And I believe that also was that the one that also ended where Piper's son got into the ring at the end of it?
Maybe. I don't recall that.
There was a
that
little
part
boy
of
in the
it.
ring at the end, I remember, that Piper was hugging or whatever. I was wondering if that is his son,
That might have
who
called
is the
Pat Patterson's.
the
No.
MMA, who wrestles MMA now.
And
Yeah.
wrestles up in Portland now too.
Yeah.
Right.
That's good. Well, Barry, thanks for sharing your WrestleMania memories. How much was the merchandise? Was it a higher price compared to house shows? Did you pay for
no.
a big foam finger?
No, no, actually, it wasn't terrible. They always, at least at WrestleMania, I wasn't in the first few rows for WrestleMania 9. I snuck up when I could, for like everybody does. But at the WrestleMania 12, I just, showed up wearing normal clothes like everybody does. And then, they have the producers that go around ringside and they go, if I give you this, will you wear it on TV? And then that's basically what they say. They pull it out and you wear it, and that's it. The T-shirts, it was pretty much the same because, the Honda Center gets a cut of it, and, just how it is.
Well, that used to be the whole thing. They used to joke about it. If you were to go to a WWE show and you wore a T-shirt or something of a wrestler who was no longer there or something,
Right.
whatever, they would come and give you merchandise just to get you.
Sure.
And that was a scam that went on for a long time by a lot of ringsiders. So they-
Right. Right. Like in 1996, that was post Hogan. So I do remember there were people wearing Hogan shirts and just because that was right. I think right before he went to WCW, or they were just talking about it. So there was a lot of stuff in the crowd.
Yeah, that actually would be about right because I remember also that was Undertaker versus Diesel, and and he was on his way out at that point too.
Yep.
Right.
Was that? Now you want I always wonder about this. The WWE always pushes the fact, and as one did the Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. Match, the Iron Man match, to be a classic.
Yeah.
They've done everything they possibly can to do that. My theory is when you have an Iron Man match that way, what happens is everybody knows it's going to go an hour, so they take the first 45 minutes or whatever, and they wind up going and going to the bathroom or going to get food or doing all that kind of stuff,
That's hilarious because. I do remember. Yeah, it's an hour. As fantastic as aspects of that match was, and there were a lot of great aspects of it. Different things that happened, especially the ending was great. An hour is a long time for a crowd to sit through. I even went up and got a hot dog at one point. I think you can even see that. But on the WWE Network, worth your $10 right there.
Yeah, they've always wanted that match to be the greatest match in WrestleMania history.
Right.
And while it's a really good match, and it's a very much an old school match, because I watched all of it and I enjoyed the way they were building to it and what they were doing.
Right.
At the same time, I think it's a match that they're trying to force people to make a classic when it was a really good match. But I don't think it's. I think it's in the bottom 10 if I were to look at the history of WrestleMania.
Right, and that's kind of what scares me, with going in. They're not doing an Iron Man match, obviously, for WrestleMania 30, but it's like, I look at Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, people who can carry that, and then you get, they were talking about Randy Orton versus Batista for a while before they threw Daniel Bryan into the mix, and both of them are getting booed like crazy on live TV, and just, 2 weeks ago they had Daniel Bryan in. So if they ever tried anything like that again, I think they would have some serious doubts on letting something like that go for an hour.
Yeah.
Look, the greatest match I ever saw in WrestleMania was Dino Bravo versus the man with the hands of stone, Ronnie Garvin. And I think Dino slammed him like 11 times and pinned him, and that was the end of the man with the hands of stone. And I still to this day I am perplexed of what that was all about. Because
so once again, if people want to see you back away from Giant Gonzalez, they need to go to the WrestleMania and see it and enjoy it. And I hope everyone will tune in and you will enjoy your claim to fame, Barry.
Yes, it's very exciting. I'm
he's looking forward to.
Very proud of those moments.
It's like being at the Super Bowl when you go to WrestleMania. It literally is, and I've been to the Super Bowl, and the feeling is literally that much. You can cut that excitement with a knife in the air. It really is that much. And
that's kind of interesting.
Joey tried and was kicked out of the arena.
Well, that's kind of interesting because I remember, those three ones that I went to were at stadiums. I mean, Caesar's Palace. I mean, they basically built the stadium. It's where the Serendipity Club is right now on the side of the arena. On the side of the hotel there. But Staples Center, and they never did tailgates or anything like that. And from what I've been hearing from people who go to it, now that they do, where they fill 70,000, 80,000, football stadiums, is they do all these tailgates outside.
They're tailgating and everything now,
Right.
It's
an event.
It's a fantastic event, and it should go on and go on and go on. I mean, I love wrestling. Even if I don't watch wrestling all year or I don't see it as much as now, I'm back into it again. But there were years where I didn't watch it, but I'd always catch WrestleMania. That's the one thing that.
Right.
Barry, in closing here, a couple questions for you, too. Settle a debate here that's going on. Are you going to watch WrestleMania 30 on the WWE Network or pay-per-view?
Well, that depends. It depends on how much time I have. If I have about 17 days to account for the buffering that's going to take place, I'd be happy to take care of the WWE Network.
Outstanding.
I'll be watching that through the PS3. I would like to watch it live, obviously via DirecTV, which I do have, and I'm a happy customer of that. But I have a feeling the time of the WWE on the DirecTV and Time Warner aspects are going to be very, very numbered soon.
I think a lot of people are. I'm a subscriber to the network, but I don't trust that it's going to hold up on WrestleMania 30.
Yeah, good test.
Barry,
I'm hitting up relatives now to get it and rent it.
Yeah. See, on the network for WrestleMania, I have a feeling like
Gary,
a 3-minute match will be an hour match.
Yeah.
Barry, last question here. What match are you looking forward to at WrestleMania 30?
I think the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. I think that's gonna be real interesting. I think they're gonna pull. I think they might have I'd like to see a few surprises in there that haven't really been in there for a while.
Dan Farren thinks Hulk Hogan's gonna win.
I don't know what he would do.
By the way, Barry, are you enjoying the fine music that you can hear in the background here?
Yeah, am I still on hold or what's
Well played, Mr.
Yes, you are on hold. We will be with you in a couple of minutes. Let me pull up your account, Mr. Cohen.
Okay, so I didn't call DirecTV. Okay,
no, there you go.
Okay.
Well, Barry, thank you for calling in. We appreciate it a lot.
We're going to get you some free tickets to come to the John Lovitz Comedy Club and see some shows. Take care of you for being a guest. We'll make sure you get some stuff like that.
And we'll get you a basket of fries.
And a basket of fries, yes.
Great fries here.
Yep.
Best fries in town are right here.
Thanks,
I'm
Barry.
looking forward to it. Bye, guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Barry. Nice having Barry Cohen with
That
some
was
of his
great.
thoughts on WrestleMania.
An Uber wrestling fan sharing his memories of attending WrestleMania.
That was great because WrestleMania, again, it's even when I went to the very first one, which was on the big screen TV at Long Beach.
Closed circuit.
Man, it was like going to this incredible event. The excitement, everything. There's not much else I can equivalent.
Kind of like attending your first divorce, right?
Yeah, the first divorce was great. My ex-wife just passed away, and her parents are they're upset with me, pretty much, because I feel like I won, $1,200 a month for life. So, they're upset with me right now.
Yep.
All right.
Well, that was a great first show, guys.
Absolutely.
Are we
done?
I think that's it.
We didn't even order yet.
We didn't even order the
No,
fries
we gotta
about
get
the
the
basket of
Chinese food,
fries.
shrimp and lobster sauce. Angelo, call them Marcs and have them ship up some stuff. No.
And let's hear it for Angelo.
Angelo,
Angelo.
Good job, Angelo, in the booth.
in the booth.
Give yourself some applause, Angelo. Or maybe not.
And coming to you soon, Incredibly Strange Rock and Roll Wrestling. We will be back. We will be better. We will be bigger. Elron Farrakhan will be back. He has assured me of this. Incredibly Strange Rock and Roll Wrestling. Tell your bald-headed granny. Word.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Joey. Thank you, Dan. And I'm Danny Wolf. Thanks, guys, for watching. Almost live from Parts Unknown. We'll be back next week.
58.
See you, spoiler 58. See you, spoiler 58.